Our group editor-in-chief, Navika Kumar, earlier spoke to BJP MP, Mr. Baijayant Panda. Take a look.
Back from a successful visit to 4 countries where they took India's story and India's stand on Operation Sindoor to the world, joining me tonight, Baijayant Panda, BJP Member of Parliament from Odisha, has won elections 5 times and is also the National Vice President of the BJP. Jai Panda, I want to ask you, your visit to Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia and Algeria, these are all Islamic nations. How was your delegation received compared to the fact that this was a battle against Pakistan, an Islamic state expected to be close to all of these 4 countries?
Indeed. And at the outset, let me say that these discussions were outstanding. They were very fruitful. And let me again put things in context. India doesn't need to justify itself because we have a track record of thousands of years when people from these countries and others used to flock to India for knowledge, for spirituality, for fame and fortune. They have tremendous regard for India. And over the past 11 years, our Prime Minister has worked relentlessly and built rapport with the leaderships of these and other nations. And the fact that they've awarded him the highest civilian honor should indicate how high they hold India and its leadership. Now, our job was to go with facts and figures and to explain to them this cycle that Pakistan has been continuing now for 78 years, since October 1947, after partition, when they sent in the first lot of cross-border terrorists. And also keep in mind that these 4 nations have themselves been the victim of terrorism and have taken very strong stands against terrorism in international fora and have themselves taken very strong actions against terrorism. So much so that in Algeria has suffered from terrorist attacks by terrorists trained in Peshawar in Pakistan. So you can understand the kind of sympathy and empathy that they all have for us. And the meetings all went really outstanding.
So, Mr. Jai Panda, how did it actually work out with having members of parliament and representatives across party lines, given the fact that back home in India, anti-Modiism is virtually a cult just as much as Modi Bhakti is? All of these leaders from opposition parties, how were they on a similar platform when you took this message across the world, given the discordant notes that we are used to hearing within India?
I think the composition of the delegation itself was a very, very strong message. The fact that among the 8 of us, we represented 5 different religions. We spoke 7 or 8 different languages. We are from all different parts of India, north, south, east, west. This was a very powerful message in itself. And they clearly understand that as the biggest democracy in history, not just of today, with 900 million voters, of course, we will have debate, and sometimes it will be noisy debate back home and on domestic issues. But the fact that we are all united, it's not just the polity that is united. It is the entire society. You can go to any section of India, any part of India, can talk to any community. You will see the tremendous support, that the tremendous unity there is, and the support for Operation Sindoor that there is. And this went across very, very clearly and had a tremendous impact on our host countries.
As far as the Indian narrative is concerned, do you think these delegations have actually played a crucial role in shaping the world narrative on this, given the fact that we live in an era where there are wars across the world, where we've seen the latest escalations between Ukraine and Russia, where Palestine versus Israel continues now over the last several months? How was the narrative of India accepted abroad?
It was accepted very well. Let us keep in mind that nations have their own interests, and larger nations have their own geopolitical interests. And our tragedy was that for many decades and for many years, we let other interests supersede our own. You know, we did not used to retaliate. We used to be taken in by the same old playbook that Pakistan had, sending in terrorists, then crying wolf, claiming it was innocent, escalating the attacks, trying to draw the world in, nuclear blackmail. All of these have been disproved, and all of them have been rent asunder by this new normal, this new policy. It has started several years ago. I would say when Balakot was attacked, that was the first bombing inside Pakistan by India in 50 years, and that was against a terrorist site. And the same thing, this time also, it is the new normal that we have communicated was the same message that Prime Minister Modi has been articulating. It is that we will retaliate. We are not going to sit tight while Indians are killed and India is harmed. We will retaliate and extract a very heavy cost from Pakistan. But we are not against the people of Pakistan. We want to hit at the terrorist bases. And only if they escalate and hit our civilian or military facilities will we hit back at their military facilities. This message is loud and clear, and these nations are all familiar with realpolitik, and they understand that India is finally waking up and asserting its due right. And also the message of how Operation Sindoor is going forward, that is the economic sanctions that we have put in place, whether it is visas or shipping or trade or water, they understand that very clearly. And we carried forward the message that our Prime Minister and leadership has articulated, which is that these are in abeyance. We want Pakistan to change its policies to shut down the terror camps. These terrorists are sanctioned by other countries like the US and also by the United Nations Security Council. There is absolutely no tolerance for them. They cannot be allowed to keep operating freely, and that message has been very well received and supported.
So let me ask you, why does then Rahul Gandhi, who has just tweeted, ट्रंप का एक फोन आया और नरेंद्र मोदी तुरंत सरेंडर हो गए, इतिहास गवाह है, यही बीजेपी आरएसएस का कैरेक्टर है, ये हमेशा झुकते हैं. And then he compares this to 1971 when the Congress party was in power. अमेरिका की धमकी के बावजूद पाकिस्तान को हमने तोड़ा था. कांग्रेस के बब्बर शेर और शेरनियां सुपर पावर से लड़ते हैं, कभी झुकते नहीं. How do you respond to this statement?
This is how I respond. I think the most important thing is to celebrate the fact that India is united on this. As I said earlier, across society, across all sections, all parts of India, we are united on this issue. And this delegation was completely united, which included members, senior leaders of both government and opposition. And that itself was the strongest message. Now, in these delegations, Congress leaders were also involved. Now, I'm not going to go into remarks by any one or two leaders. If they want to do something like this for their own domestic political objectives, I'm not going to get drawn into that, because we should not shift the leader of opposition on this phenomenal unity that holds. Well, you should see how the world reacts to India and to its leader, Prime Minister Modi, and then I think you will understand the difference. So that's why it's not even worth responding to anybody trying to, create some kind of impression which goes against this unity, because I have been part of this united stand. You have experienced it and shown it on your channel about the unity that exists across society. And if some people are trying to shift the spotlight from that, I won't be party to that.
Well, Mr. Jay Panda, there have been certain noises that have been made on social media about, one member of your delegation, Rekha Sharma ji, who's actually humming a song at a dinner. Can you tell us what was the context? Because people have raised objections like this delegation visit was in the backdrop of a massacre of 26 Indians in Pahalgam and 16 people who lost their lives in the cross-border firing when Operation Sindoor started, and therefore they've even objected to the humming of this song, making light of the delegation visit. Can you share with us the context?
Yes, that is in fact a gross misrepresentation which some people have put out. Let me tell you the backdrop. This was a very serious effort and it was a grueling schedule. We had meetings with national leaders and parliamentary leaders, think tanks, media, Indian diaspora from morning to night, and all our flights were late at night. So it was a very grueling schedule, lack of sleep, a lot of hard work by all the members of the delegation. And in Algeria was the last day, and it was very, very fruitful. It was really positive because Algeria has taken very strong stand against terrorism and has taken strong actions against terrorism. And so when they impromptu invited us to an informal dinner, we were very surprised to learn it was the Algerian MPs who pointed out to us that this very old Bollywood song from the 70s is extremely popular. Like in Russia and in some other countries, some Raj Kapoor songs are very popular. This song from the 70s is very popular, so much so that we experienced it ourselves. When we were on the street walking across, people would hail us by saying Namaste and Jane Tu. I think that was the start of the song. And it was in fact at the request of one of the Algerian MPs that one member of our delegation decided to respond with one line from that song. I think these kind of informal touches add to the friendship, they deepen the ties and develop contacts between the opinion makers and public figures in both sides. I think it should be seen in its proper context instead of misrepresenting it.
Mr. Jai Panda, Jairam Ramesh, another colleague of yours from Parliament, actually said, the four terrorists who killed our Pahalgam martyrs actually roaming free, just as the delegation is roaming free. Do you find the comparison that was being set, objectionable by Jairam Ramesh? And where is this kind of language coming out from, with the Congress party agreeing to send 5 members in different delegations, yet at home keeping the entire conversation around targeting the government itself?
I think a few frustrated individuals are venting their frustration, and I don't want to get drawn into that, except to say that it is indeed very unfortunate and very sad to compare all party delegations, members of parliament, who have very independent voices, and on many domestic policies, we have strong arguments. For them to speak out unitedly for the nation against terrorism is something to be cherished. It is something to be celebrated. And to compare that with terrorists, this wasn't a vacation. It was a very grueling schedule. And all I'll say is that it's unfortunate, and I won't get drawn into that kind of pettiness.
You're being very, very guarded in the statements you're making, Jai Panda. The fact is, Shashi Tharoor specifically was targeted, and Salman Khurshid, former External Affairs Minister, actually had to tweet, and he said it's distressing that people at home are calculating political allegiances based on this visit. Is it so difficult to be patriotic? What does this signify?
They are exactly right. They are exactly right. And as I said, clearly it reflects the frustration of a few individuals, because all these delegations represent the entire spectrum of our polity, from opposition to government, and as I said, many other kinds of diversity, language, religion, etc., region. Now, I don't want to say anything other than, of course, I criticize this kind of leg pulling. It's not in the nation's interest, and I think they are getting exposed for the kind of stand they are taking. Beyond that, all I'll say is that all these delegations delegations were united with a single message from India: zero tolerance for terrorism. And that message has been very well received by our hosts.
Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi is quite the toast of town, in the manner in which the takedown of Pakistan in his own inimitable style took place. And he, at one of the forums, he even spoke about how they had passed on a Chinese exercise picture, the Pakistanis, and he says, ये इतने नालायक लोग हैं कि नकल के लिए भी अकल नहीं कर पाए. Can you tell us this sense of the political loggerheads at which the one-man army that Asaduddin Owaisi, representing the minority in India versus the BJP, have been at loggerheads? Can you tell us a bit about how you found him in the delegation abroad, and was it a different take from the usual Asaduddin Owaisi you may be used to?
I found not only Asaduddin Owaisi, but every other member of the delegation, including Ghulam Nabi Azad ji, including Nishikant Dubey, including Fangnon Konyak and others, to be extremely effective in communicating. And you're right, at this particular forum, he called the Pakistani leadership a bunch of jokers for, not getting their basics right and using irrelevant Chinese photographs to make a point about India. The message got across loud and clear that in a democracy of our size, we may have very strong and very loud arguments at home, and they're about domestic policy, and that's the right of every leader to stand up for what he or she believes in. But when it comes to standing up for India, when it comes to taking a strong stand against cross-border terrorism sponsored by Pakistan, there was no let-up from anybody. All of our delegates were united and gave a very strong message, and that was indeed, it found its target and was very well received.
Well, Jai Panda, clearly the country is proud to have seen a situation where members of parliament, representatives from different political parties chose to keep their differences aside as far as domestic politics is concerned and to represent India. Do you think this will buy you some long-lasting peace in parliament, or do you think back home politics is a different cup of tea?
I think what it will get us is very important for national security. It's very important for our fight against cross-border terrorism. All these countries have tremendous interest in India because we are very rapidly growing. They've seen us go past the UK and now Japan to become the 4th largest. They see us heading to be the 3rd largest. We've had a lot of development with these countries, with not just economic but also military cooperation. There have been several agreements signed with several of these countries in the past couple of years, and there are in fact counter-terrorism and joint military exercises that have already taken place. Now these nations are eager to keep working with India and in international fora to work for the common purpose, because they too are very strongly against terrorism, and I think that will be the biggest gain in the coming months and coming years from these efforts.
On that note, thank you very much, Jai Panda, and many thanks for sharing what really transpired as these delegations have taken the India story to the global stage. Thank you very much for joining me here on the News App.